Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 131, 131.
Nice.
Presented by Parse Rum. I love Parse. You love Parse. When I say Parse, you say rum. Parse.
Rum. Yeah. That's what we're trying to teach the fans. You got to say Parse. Nice. Good job.
Yes, that was, you guys jumped the gun and then I did it. And then currently right now we're recording. It is just about right after noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. The Phils are about to start against the Braves.
Schwarber.
We are into the division series.
Quick thing about Schwarber. How do you have 46 homers and only 94 ribbies? That's kind of crazy. I guess because he hits leadoff. That's kind of crazy. First pitch swinging, though. I love it. He grounded out, but I love it.
Okay. I'm a little bit behind.
That's 1-0.
I'm a little bit behind.
Wow, so, you guys are behind.
Yeah. Please don't tell me.
Sorry, Zach. We're not all rich.
Out. Schwarber just grounded out. That's where I'm
jogging back to the dugout on my screen.
Okay.
Looking yoked.
Should we start by discussing the wild card series that have happened?
Yeah.
Or should we start with breaking news?
I was going to
I think
say,
that'd be.
let's just talk Scotty right away.
Okay.
That's the elephant in the room.
Okay. Our good friend, former teammate of all of us, except Tom.
Well, he feels,
I feel like I'm a Scott's teammate.
Yeah.
Scott's my teammate in life.
Yes.
He has to get Tommy John. It's on the airways. It's very sad. There's positives and negatives. Positives. I'm going to go positive town. He is now going to get his elbow fixed. He's going to come back healthy, and he's going to have a great long career and not have to worry about any arm issues anymore.
Another positive. He'll get service time and some good money next year.
Double positive.
That's true. He will make $750,000 next year. That'll be nice.
We know that he is very sad about not being able to pitch in the postseason. I think we've all talked to him about it. It's one of the things he was most looking forward to and being a part of helping that group. Obviously, he helped them get to where they are and was a part of that success, but really stinks that he's not going to be able to participate in the postseason. But what I said to him was, one thing that I know for sure is he will be the one rooting the hardest for every single one of his teammates.
100%. He's gonna be locked in. I don't know, Zach. I don't think he's with the team for the playoffs, though, is he?
Yeah, he is right now. He's in New York. Yeah.
But I'm saying, is he gonna stay with him in the dugout?
He doesn't. He doesn't know moving forward, but I know tonight he'll be there. I'm not sure about the next.
That's still so sick.
Yeah, that's what I was on the phone with him and we were just talking, and I was like, listen, if there's any positives in here, no matter what I'm going to say, it sucks. It's like you've put yourself in this position where it sucks this much. You're in such a good position that you've earned the right to have your name blown up like this and be such a loss, where it's like, if you don't earn that, and if you don't throw well, if you don't get traded, everyone's like, oh man, that stinks. Scott needs Tommy John, but now it's on a national level, and he still has such an unbelievable opportunity of moving in front of himself, moving forward, where again, he has that right to, sit in the dugout, cheer, but at the same time, yeah, it sucks, obviously.
And we love him very much.
Very much.
I was bummed. I texted him and I was like, I know this doesn't make you feel better, but I was like, man, I'm fucking bummed. That. I was so excited to watch him throw in the playoffs. How cool that would be to watch Scott Effross close a game at Yankee
Imagine
Stadium.
him getting out of a jam.
Oh my, I'd be jumping up and down. It'd be electric. But another positive, I don't know if anyone saw the Yankees hype video. Awesome. I'm all the way back in. Might be back to being a Yankees fan. I don't know. I'm definitely rooting for him. Tom, I'm back. You got me on your team now. But they did put Scott in it for a good
they fucking better, which is a joke that it wasn't more.
Ooh,
well, I mean, you got Judge, you got the big guys that you gotta really highlight.
Oh, you're just gonna sit out on the closer?
I'm not sitting out on him. I'm just saying.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm really bummed. I mean, I think there's the obvious impact on the Yankees, but first you think about, as you guys said, Scott's our friend. I feel bad for Scott, the human being, first, because This is the guy last year who started the year with the fucking Tennessee Smokies, who was going to be the Yankees closer less than 18 months later. This was going to be the Yankees closer in the playoffs. And you think about how much, he did to earn this moment, and to have it taken away at this point, to not even have it, if it was taken away tomorrow, even if he got to pitch in a game, I think I would feel a little bit different. The fact that he doesn't even get to have the experience that he deserved to have after all this is such a bummer for him. And obviously the TJ is such a long road back as well, that's my first thought is just, let's get Scotty back and let's get him healthy again after this. For the Yankees, though, if you can now look at it beyond just Scott as the person, Scott the player, man, this really hurts the Yankees. Like Chapman, obviously, we can have that conversation in a minute. Some people may owe me some apologies, we'll see. But man, that back end of the bullpen's getting real thin real quick. And the other thing, again, and this is not Scott's fault, and I don't think Harrison Bader, or Andrew Benintendi should be blamed, but 3 out of the 5 guys the Yankees traded for at the deadline will not be on the the ALDS rosters either, which is pretty astounding. So tough day for the Yankees all around, which is really weird going into what should be an awesome day, the first day of the playoffs, but kind of bummed out now.
The Yanks,
no DJ LeMahieu either.
No DJ LeMahieu.
The Yanks are going to need.
That was weird. Sorry, Ian.
I'm just saying the Yanks are going to need some playoff performers. They're going to need some guys to step up, have some big outings in the playoffs. And I have no doubt. The Yankees, team of destiny for me. I have no doubt.
I'm seeing Garrett Cole throwing 115 to 120 pitches. Like if he's cruising, I don't see him coming out of the game though. Would you agree with that, Tom? I could see like he's at 110 after 8 and it's like a 2-1 game. Like I think he's going out for the 9th.
I do think Boone has some of that old school manager in him at the end of games, where if you get your starter rolling, honestly, the issue for Garrett Cole in the playoffs has been, respectfully to Garrett Cole, that he has not been that kind of guy for the Yankees. He has also not made a playoff start at home during the postseason. So I'll be excited to see him do that tonight. Severino looked really good last time out. Obviously, you talk about Nestor Cortez. Like they have the starters at the front end. You're just putting a lot of pressure on those guys to say, hey, we need 7 minimum out of you guys every start from here on out now.
Do they?
Yeah.
Is one of their starters coming out of the pen?
I saw.
I feel like Herman has to, right?
I thought it was Tyone was going to the pen, I believe, because I think he'd had a little bit of experience back there, but I just saw that this morning.
It'll be interesting to see if one of their starters goes to the pen and can be like a huge weapon out of the pen for them, just with how thin they are right now. Like that would be a really nice if whoever it ends up being is back there and able to give them some really quality innings out of the back end.
It will be Jamison Tyone will be one of the guys. And then Severino looked about as good as we've seen him look since 2019, his last start. So again, you're kind of hoping that he refines some of that 2018, 2019 form.
And he's going to be the 3.
Yeah. He might be the 2. I mean, I got to see how they're lining it up.
Severino's I feel like he's a big game pitcher. Like he's someone like you're pumped when you see him go to the mound.
I'm really excited to see him pitch in the playoffs at Yankee Stadium as well.
Do we want to move from everybody's favorite team, the Yanks, to what happened in the DS or the wild card series?
Yes. What do you want to start with?
I think we have to start with the one series that went 3 games and the Mets.
What do you got on Musgrove's ear?
I don't know. I saw some conflicting things. One thing, I think Jimmy did he did a whole thing where he never went to his ear, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy did a whole video of like the entire start and he never like went to his ear to get the ball. I don't think his ear. I also saw something that said that generally big moment, big whatever game, a 5% tick up in spin rate is what has been seen in the playoffs. Is he spinning that thing at like 2,900 now? Yeah, but he, that's what he does. That's why he's effective. That's why he's good. Am I like super concerned about it? No. Do I think that guys are still finding a way to put something on the ball in different capacities? Yeah, for sure. And MLB needs to continue to look at that. But I think that's an evolving. It's not just that's an evolving thing. And I wouldn't say because they did the thorough check and everything, I wouldn't say that Musgrove is guilty of doing anything.
I think I get what Showalter was doing. Also, like he was cruising, like you try to throw him off a little bit. But all it ended up doing, I think, was pissing the Padres off. And then they just kind of stomped on him after
But
that.
I'm sure that Buck was instructed because he was checking baseballs in the first inning. Like he asked the ball boy, like, yo, let me see those. And especially with how it was blowing up on Twitter, you can't tell me that somebody from the front office or somebody upstairs wasn't like, yo, we got to get this checked. And then I think towards the end, it was like, all right, we got to do it. It's the sixth inning.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. And, if you're in that situation, you have won 101 games and you're down to, kind of the end of the road there. You're trying anything for yourself, for your team, for your guys, for the fan base. And if he would have had something, it would have been, everybody would have said, that's you have to do that. And just because he didn't, to get mad about being checked, I think is like, that's part of the game now. You have to just wear it and all right.
And I don't understand like why pitchers get so pissed about it. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like if you got nothing to hide, who cares? Like let them check you. It takes 2 seconds. Like if you're like, oh, it's throwing off my routine, like they'll let you throw another pitch or two in between because it was a delay. Like it's not that big of a deal. And my thing is like if you're freaking out that much, it's like like you'll never get me. Like I got it, but you didn't find it.
My only thing would be maybe the courteous way to do it is at the end of an inning. Yeah. At the end of an inning or right when he's going to go out, just go and say like, hey, can you check him before the inning starts? Maybe that would have been a little bit more courteus. But
don't you think that's why they did it? I mean, I think they did it the way they did it. Buck did that on purpose.
Maybe. And that's what I'm saying. If it was on purpose in the middle of the inning, I'm not like on board with that. But if it was just like, hey, we need him checked. I don't know. Was it right at the beginning of the inning or was it like 1 out or something?
It was the start of the inning.
Yeah. I think maybe if he's coming off the inning before when the TVs aren't on, maybe that's a better time to do it. But, it's going to get caught anyway on camera. So
I do think I saw a stat that said that he had thrown 1 pitch, I believe, before that point, before the inspection, over 3,000 RPMs, and then threw 5 after the inspection, which leads me to think some of that's adrenaline, unless like that's like seems to be like a response to be like, oh, you think I'm spinning it? Like, let me now like really like, gear it up.
He was probably just pissed after that. And he just threw everything as hard as he could the rest of the way.
If you get checked and there's nothing there, in my opinion, you have free reign to do whatever you want to the other dugout. Like what he was doing, I was like,
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think like, I agree, but like I don't know why people get mad. Like who cares if they come check you? Like,
right.
And he had something on his ear. Like, I don't know what it was, but like, why were his ears that shiny? That was the weird part to me. I was like, I don't know what that would be. And someone said Vaseline. I was like, that makes it more slippery though. Like, maybe, I don't know how.
But I'm curious if it's Vaseline mixed with that new rosin, what that does.
There's no way it makes it sticky.
Because that's what
I guess it could because people have. I think people might have mixed.
That's what I was just gonna stop. I was just gonna say something. I was like, we'll talk off the air.
Not me, but other people. You mix that new Pelican rosin. That new Pelican rosin, if you mix it with certain things,
that's what I'm saying.
It's basically stick.
Right.
Sunscreen.
Like, it's not spider tack, but it's like.
No,
it
maybe
stuff
you
can
can
put in your hair. Yeah, you can put the stuff
perhaps.
in your hair and then combine it with the rosin and your
yeah. I've seen videos of guys just going to their hair excessively and like
and then grabbing the rosin
in a really weird way too. Like if you take your hat and you're taking a breath, you're like, oh man, I'm toast. Like,
but you sit
here, guys are going to their hair like this, and you're like, and then barely touching the rosin. It's kind of like that's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, people 100%. Ian said it. Like, guys are still finding a way. That's 100%. Like, they're gonna find a way to still get a little bit of grip on the ball. Is it as extreme as spider tag? No way. I don't believe spider tag is anywhere anymore because I don't know how you could hide it. It's so sticky. I felt it one time and I was like, I couldn't let go of the baseball. If I use this, it would stick to my hand the whole way through.
We had it in the office. It was the most unbelievable substance I've ever held.
I don't know how they throw with it. Like, people put it on. I'm like, how do you even release the baseball? Like,
I think my hand's still sticky from it. It's like 18 months later.
It's insane.
So the Mets lose. They're out.
101 wins.
101 wins. They get chased down by the Braves. I know that there's going to be a lot of their fans and people that are disappointed. That's natural. They had a good enough team to play very, very deep into the postseason. Would be very interested to see what they do this offseason in preparation for next year, because they still, DeGrom, we'll see what happens, but they still have Scherzer, they still have Lindor's there forever. They have McNeil and Alonso and the other guys they signed this past offseason, some position players. Like, they still got the group coming back. I think I'm trying to
Frankie Lindor.
Nimmo and DeGrom are the two guys that I know are not coming back, and I don't know or going to be free agents, but I'm not sure what else. I be very interested to see what their offseason looks like. Do you guys have any comments about the series in general?
I heard
do.
DeGrom to the Cubbies.
I have a hot take about, like, so it's a short series and obviously you have to come out hot in such a small time. But like, being on the road, especially what it used to be with the one game playoff or now 3-game, I think the away team has a little bit of an advantage by coming out swinging first inning like that. Like, they scored in the first inning of the first game. And then I think they scored first in the third game too. Like, I think shutting a crowd up and taking the air out of the place before they even get a chance to hit is kind of like, that's like, as a home team, you're like, oh, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to score 3 runs in the first inning, but like, if they come out and punch first, I mean, I don't know. I personally
definitely, there's definitely a momentum shift there. When you're the home team and you give up a couple runs right off the bat, it's like, oh shit. And it kind of puts pressure on the lineup to then go out and you're facing somebody else's ace. You're facing somebody else's ace, and then you got to go and compete. And I think the Padres, because of the division they played in, because they had a little bit of a shaky stretch in the middle and the Dodgers just completely ran away with it. Nobody's really talking about the Padres, but they're a fucking really good team and they have good frontline pitching. I think people talk about the lineup. They talk about Machado and Soto and the acquisitions they made at the deadline with position players, but really their pitching's nasty.
I do have the Mets free agents really quick if you want to run through them. DeGrom, Carlos Carrasco, Edwin Diaz, Chris Bassett, Trevor May, Taijuan Walker, Brandon Nimmo, Tyler Naquin, Adam Ottavino, Seth Lugo, Trevor Williams, and Michael Givens all will be free agents.
Yeah, they're going to have to go get some pitching. They're going to have to go, and the starter market isn't plentiful, I guess. There's a lot of good major league talent, but it's not like the top line guys. There's only a couple of them. So we will see.
DeGrom. I mean, they keep DeGrom.
Well, Rondon. You got Rodon.
Sure.
I could fuck that up. Rodon. Carlos is a free agent, and Musgrove's not anymore.
It's Carlos Rodon.
Rodon, right?
Rodon, right?
Yeah. Rodon with a
Rodon, yeah.
You can spell it, but then you have Rendon. Okay, and I get confused sometimes.
By the way, there are trending players on Spot Rack, which is like the sports salary cap website, and the 5 trending players right now are Aroldis Chapman, Jacob DeGrom, Aaron Judge, Scott Effross, and Max Fried.
Yes. Oh, he did it. Not for the good reason, but he did it.
Scotty.
4 All-Stars and Scotty just hanging out.
Whoa.
Hey.
What do you mean? The other 4 guys have been to the All-Star game.
Future All-Star.
Yeah.
It's a weird comment after you said you liked him.
Yeah.
2024 All-Star.
Scott, we're sorry about him. All right. Sorry he's kicking you while you're down.
Any other comments on the Mets Padres?
No,
series?
but I'd like to. Did you have one, Zach? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate the Padres. Like, people were like, oh, how'd the Mets lose? It's like, you have the best 235, 240 hitter ever to play the game in Juan Soto hitting. Like, you don't know what you're going to get for him. And, like, he hits a base hit, 2-run base hit to basically close the door the other day against Edwin Diaz. Like, they still have Machado. They still have Soto. Like, they're a fucking really good team. And that's what I was telling my friends who were huge Mets fans. I was like, guys, like, they're fucking good, man. They're really, really good. And they play in a really hard division by playing the Dodgers 19 times a year.
Well, and the rotation, they got Snell, Musgrove, and Yu Darvish.
Like, go get them.
That's 3 really good pitchers.
Go get them.
And their
line. I mean,
they have Hader on the back end.
Yeah. I mean, you got Grisham playing really well. Cronenworth's a really good baseball player. Josh Bell, maybe the most underrated hitter in baseball.
Yeah. Like,
since he was like a throw-in the Juan Soto deal, it seemed
plus,
like.
Profar had a good year. Will Myers is a good player.
Will Myers made some huge defensive plays. The one against Lindor, I'm not sure if it was in game 1 or 3, diving down the right field or the first base line, and I think they were down at that point, and it would have at least been a double. And I don't know if what's his face would have scored. Wherever Nimmo would have scored down the right field line. And again, you don't know what happens if something like that goes by. McNeil hits a ball off the base, he barehands it, throws him out at first. Like, just little things like that. You know, you don't have to hit 330 to be a huge factor in these games.
Yep.
Is the DS 5 or 7?
5.
5. What I was going to say, though, I was going to switch.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to switch to the Mariners.
Good for the M's. You know what we're going to start with today?
Who are we starting with?
We're going to start, before we talk about the M's, we're going to talk about Roman. And we're going to talk about T support. Let me tell you who had their T support before that series. The M's. GetRoman.com/compound today. $15 off your first order of Roman T support. You'll love that. You'll love to hear it. Who wants to talk about Roman? Anybody want to go off on Roman?
I don't have the email, so
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can say nice things about him.
Great product. I don't think we are technically allowed to use it, but I believe it's a great product.
I don't think that was the first thing you should have said. Testosterone's an important part of a man's body and health. So it's important to start. It's important to start supporting it early. Okay. Dietary supplements are a way to aid your body's natural function if you feel like diet and exercise are not enough. Way into Roman T Sport. There's a lot of great stuff in there.
Your T levels go down naturally over time, so you got to boost them.
Vitamin D3, zinc. It's all in there. Go to GetRoman.com/compound today. $15 off your first order of Roman T support. GetRoman.com/compound. Let's talk about the M's.
Zach texted it the other day to me, I think. Just something of how, like, or I think I might have said it last week, like, they're such a fun team. Like, I feel like that's a team that it's like, how can you not root for them?
I think one of the best parts about the playoffs is if you watch baseball anywhere in the country besides the West Coast, you're probably not seeing a lot of M's during the year. You're just not seeing a lot. When the playoffs come, you get to see these guys on the biggest stage. Everybody gets to watch them, and they get to go, oh, shit, that's a really fun team to watch play. Luis Castillo, what a arm. I had to face him for 6 years in the division. Not fun. And he's throwing that like crazy upshoot 4 thing he's got now that he paints to the up and away corner to lefties, and it's very hard to hit. And he also signed that deal with him. He's going to be there for a long time. I think everybody was looking for starting pitching at the deadline and like not willing to give up enough to go get him. The M's did a great job about doing it, because I think every single team that's in the playoffs right now wishes they had him on their team.
Yes, I would agree.
Including Tom and the Yanks.
Didn't Zach say? Didn't you say he was like up to 100, like the 6th inning?
Yeah, you're sitting 99.
And he's been doing that
from fucking here.
The crazy thing is he's been doing that for a long time. He's had some really great years. He was throwing earlier in his career, he would throw more of a sinker and a changeup combo. And he was getting hit kind of hard at the beginning of this year, maybe for just a few starts. And then he started to go to this dotted four, and it plays a little different off the changeup. It opens the slider up for him a little bit more. And he's got a lot of confidence, and he's a dude that when he's pitching with confidence and he's throwing that, 98 to 100 in the zone, tough to hit.
I saw something. I don't know if I read an article. It was like people are so blown away by him. They're like, man, I can't believe this guy doesn't have multiple Cy Youngs. Like, man, I can't believe this guy doesn't have one Cy Young. It's just like, he's just a name that he kind of got buried, like you said, in Cincinnati, where they weren't having the greatest of years. And now even kind of buried, I guess you can say, in Seattle, where it's on the West Coast. And then now it's on a national stage. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And it's like, yeah, guys like Happ, like, yeah, got him in the last 6 years, sick.
Well, he's also a two-time All-Star. And the reason why in Cincy he got a little buried in their good years was because they had Bauer doing some incredible stuff with the sticky stuff, and they had Sonny Gray as the 2, and so he ends up being the 3 for them. Being an All-Star in 19 and having a really good year in 20, and then catching kind of the tough run they had last year. So I mean, he's been consistent, he's been out there, he's been healthy, and very, very impressive arm.
I mean, I think you mentioned part of the reason, though, that maybe teams were a little bit hesitant because that price of the deadline. Supposedly, I know for the Yankees that a lot of the rumors was that they were going to have to put one of Volpe or Dominguez, one of their 2 top prospects, into that deal, which is something that the Yankees, I just think, drew a line in the sand, said they were not going to do. But Castillo was the guy last year who was on a lot of teams, kind of similar. Obviously, the Reds were having a really bad year. He was the guy they were talking about possibly trading. And he ended up looking, his numbers, he got below a 4 ERA, but he was, for the first half of last year, brutal. And since then, he's been unbelievable. As you've mentioned, maybe it was changing the picks mix, whatever it was, he's been a true top-of-the-line starter, and those are so rare to find actually at the deadline.
In some ways, difficult to be a top-line starter on a team that is struggling, because you don't you're not sure if you're going to get that run support. You're not sure, you can go out there and have a 2-5 or a 3 and still lose 15 games. That I think that part's probably really a challenge. I think him in a competitive environment is a really good thing for him. And I also, I know the price of the deadline thing, but if you go back and you look back and you say, well, if I would have traded my guys, then he would have signed this 5 for 100 that he signed. Was that 5 for 100, something like that? The deal that he signed, if he goes out and has an unbelievable postseason and then it goes out and becomes a free agent, and I think he was still under control for another year, so I don't know if it was there yet, but it's an absolute steal for the Yankees.
That's what you get another year for him. It's not a rental, and then you sign into extension.
Yeah,